She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cock-a-crow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cock-a-crow, dog-a-bark, donkey bray, horse and they even duck-a-quack. Cock-a-crow, dog-a-bark, donkey bray, horse and they even duck-a-quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. The naga jackass yard for fetch the load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokonani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Bangameri. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. Them children glad when the weekend come. Out in the yard, them all gather round. Some a play catcher, some making house from straw. Two who come later, a grandma or grandpa. All a sit down just a wait. Moonlight so bright, it's just the right time to listen story or to say a little nursery rhyme. Grandpa voice a echo in the night as he tell it tell some picnic a there with fright. Oh Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma Burra Nancy even Watamuma. Oh Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma Burra Nancy even Watamuma. Yeah man, that's the true story that tell the people about life in the country, life in the country.
Well, hey, guess what? It's 47 minutes after 12 o'clock. And one of the things, though, I tell you guys this, is that when you say that you're going to start something, when you tell a Guyanese that you're going to do something, they expect you to follow through and get it done. Well, in most cases, right? Well, I just made a suggestion about a midday session where we bring you information of things happening during the course of the day, because oftentimes you don't want to wait until midday, until late in the evening for these information. At least from our standpoint here at 107.1 FM, it doesn't work. And it's not as effective as it should be, especially from a political standpoint. And so Oftentimes we say to those who are in politics that politics is not a part-time job. Politics is just not something where you put off to get something done right now or today, and you say that you were going to do it next week or you're going to do it in a couple of days' time. You get it done almost immediately. Because when you don't do that, your political opponents step in and they do the job for you and they get the kudos for you. Um, and so there are times when people seem to think, and it's okay, seem to think that I'm a little too harsh on the opposition what is it, the coalition members of parliament. And that might be true. And I have absolutely no apologies for that. That might be true. It is simple. I do believe that there are quite a few of them who are out there on the ground who are trying their utmost. And I give them kudos to that. For that, I salute them. But these opposition MPs, I'm specifically talking about them, is that I want them to know that going out there and doing things for their constituency or doing things for citizens, it is not a favor. It is not something that you're doing because you don't have to do it. The fact that you sit there as a member of parliament representing your constituency simply means that you have no other choice but to do it. It's as simple as that. And if some of those folks in the opposition, if they don't like it, all I have to say is too bad. Just get up and do what you have to do. This is not about, doing something for people hold on to you and chat your neck. Some of you would know what chat means, right? Chat your neck. It's not about that. And not because when I say what I say on my show that I hate any one of you. No, I don't. Politics is not for thin skin. If you're too thin skinned, get out politics and go somewhere else and do something. Go by Dutchy boat landing or let them restart the Torani boat and sell plantain chips or something like that. Anyways, good afternoon. My executive producer just said that don't put on any shirt and tie. It's a midday something. And I know it's an impromptu because I didn't give any notice. I just pop up just like that. So yes, this is a live program. It's 51 minutes after 12 o'clock. There are some things that we want to talk to you about because we do believe that the PPP, they're up in some serious, serious trouble, especially with their support base. We know folks who are not their supporters are upset with them, and rightly so. People throughout the country are upset with them. And that is why people want to see, not necessarily protest. Protest is a good thing, don't get me wrong. But people want to see stronger boots. And what do I mean by stronger boots on the ground? Simply this, stronger opposition representation on the ground. They should not have allowed Jack Jail to rush to Berbice, when in fact the people on the quarantine coast there have been crying out for help, crying out for all sorts of help. And they haven't seen that many, if at all. I don't know who went out there to talk to the people them on the quarantine. They have a member of parliament there, Pandit Dinesh Jai Prashad. He can only do so much as a one man for that entire region, but he needs to get support. Remember some of these young MPs, they're new to this as well. They are new to this. Sorry about that. They are new to this. And so they need help from the senior ones, the old heads. They need help. Just go out there and help the people there, man. Go out there and do your work. Go in Blackbush Polder. Walk around. Shake hands with the people. Show them a different light as to what's happening. They're already pissed off with the PPP. Go down there this weekend. Don't use COVID-19 as a mistake that you can be on the ground. Go out there, meet the people, In Region 10, things seem to be quiet, gone all quiet again. What is happening in Ituni? What is happening in Linden? What is happening in Kokwani? Or is it that we only hear about these areas when something really, really bad happens? Whether there's a flood, whether there's whatever, and then we rush out and we say, this is Kokwani. Is that how we want to know these places? We also want to see what is happening. And that is why the MPs for these regions, when they come and they explain, people want to see videos, people want to hear people from their various regions. Say, for example, the MP for Region 3 is Ganesh Mahipal, my friend Ganesh Mahipal. It's Navratri, sorry. They're celebrating Hindu celebration. Happy Navratri to all of our Hindu brothers and sisters. So he's busy with that. But let's take, for example, when Ganesh does his show, people want to see videos of people talking about situations in region number 3, maybe up at Parika, what is happening, what the PPP did to those vendors, kick those vendors off their spots. And some of them have been there for many, many years. It's a shame and a disgrace what the PPP did to those people. We want to see videos. We want to hear more. Not just one time it pops up and that's it. And that's what people want. They want real representation on the ground, talking on the ground. Politics, it's not just about you popping up on social media and you say something and that's representation. That is not representation. I don't know how I head in that direction to talk about what is representation. But it's a lunchtime, right? And I'm just a little hungry, if you noticed. We do eat good things too. They got some people think that we only eat this fried chicken. We eat good things as well, right? I don't know. So let me see. What else is happening in the news? We're hearing about a story, and let me just put this up here. We're hearing about this story, about this permanent secretary, Sharon Hicks. And now this is the allegation that's being leveled against this young permanent secretary. And I'll give you guys my opinion about this whole blown up thing. It says here, Amerindian Affairs Permanent Secretary arrested in bribery probe. According to the report, this young lady, who is the permanent secretary, in a sting operation, I don't know what they're calling sting operation these days, but in a sting operation, that she was caught with $200,000 in what they claim to be a bribe. They claim to be a bribe from some security firm guy whose dad died, right? And then his son took over the business, and his son now, who runs the business. It's funny how these news agencies do not like to name certain people unless they're people from the ghettos. So they name them, they show their pictures, they do everything. So here it is that you're showing the photograph of, according to the papers, they've published the photograph of this young lady. But they don't want to say who the owner of this security firm is. Who is the individual? And maybe we'll be able to get an idea as to whether this young lady was actually set up, right? I'm not going to go the route of set up as yet, but I'm almost close to being in that area that something is very, very fishy. Something is very fishy about this situation. And now let me make it clear. I don't know this young woman from absolutely nowhere. Nowhere I don't know her from. And so this is not a case where I'm trying to defend someone. You know, I actually don't know her. So there's no way that I'm going to try to defend her when I don't know her. But she was, sorry, my boss always comes into the studio with me. Yeah. So, but this story is a bit fishy. it is a bit fishy. It is a bit fishy that, let me break it down. A sting operation, if this young lady belonged to the folks them at Freedom House, I don't know whether she belongs there, I just don't know. But they would never have allowed any so-called sting operation to happen. None whatsoever. Nothing at all. And so I am suspicious of this so-called sting operation. I am indeed very suspicious of the sting operation, right? See why middays, I can't be doing two jobs at the same time, right? Yeah. Say hi and tell them bye. What's your name?
Emma.
Emma what?
Thumbs up.
Emma Sophia what?
Thumbs up.
Okay. Sing a song, Born in the Land, for them quickly. Sing. Born in the land of the mighty. Good job. She's a little under the weather, guys. Okay, give Daddy a few minutes, right? Daddy has a job to do. Daddy actually works. Say bye-bye. Good. Close the door for me, right? I love you. Good. Bye-bye. Yes, I will. Thank you. Okay, close the door for me, please. Bye-bye. Okay, now you guys see why this midday thing. Gosh. Now, y'all sure? Let me look at some of your comments, man. Y'all sure y'all still want me to do this midday thing? Y'all sure y'all still want me to be on midday with you guys? All right. You're going to go now? That I has to talk to those folks. Say hi, Guyana. Say hi, Guyana. Good. Just give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Give that a kiss and go. Kiss? Good. Go ahead now. I know. Close the door for me, right? Good. They're gone. They're gone. Good. Right. They're all Guyanese. All of them. Close the door for me, please.
Close the door.
Yeah, okay. Close it, please. Thank you. All right. So back to the story with that young lady Hicks, Sharon Hicks. I don't know. This is ticklish. Very, very ticklish. It seems as though someone really want to throw her under the bus, and they found a way that they can do it, and they've decided that they are going to use that way in getting that done against this young lady. Now, I just want to make it quite clear that she's being accused. She is being accused and nothing else. They are claiming they have an envelope with her receiving the $200,000, which, according to the report, she was receiving since July of this year. And the person who was allegedly paying the $200,000 to her every month, said that he got tired of it, and that she was refusing to sign off on some invoices. Now, all I need to do, I need to know who the individual is. And then you'll able to come to your conclusion whether this is a setup or not. But for now, I'll say that it's an allegation being leveled against her. It's a serious allegation. Okay, thank you. It's a serious allegation. And but for me, I do believe there is a lot of question marks, lots of question marks on this particular story. I hope that she would be brave enough. If she wants to come and talk her story, I will give her that opportunity. Let me see what some of you guys are saying about this particular story. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yep. Let me see. Let me see some of you. What are your thoughts on this particular story? Please, I'd like to. I'm reading some of your comments here, and usually we want to give you guys an opportunity to take part in our session, so that we can see what you are thinking. In other news, though, we do have some other news. As I look at some of your comments. Indeed, don't forget, don't read the propaganda newspapers that they have out there. Go out and pick up copies. On the weekends, you can buy this here, the Village Voice. Support the Village Voice. 100%. Go out and support the Village Voice. Let's see what Patricia Madramutu. Hi, Patricia. How are you doing? Patricia is saying, I think she might be used, Mark. Might be a cover-up for one of their friends. It could possibly be that. It could possibly be, I'm looking at some of your comments. We have O'Neill Vanessa Yanet is saying, Mark, I agree with you. She was set up. Let's see what Carl Miller is saying. And Carl is usually on the ball whenever he finish eating dinner and watching Straight Up. Carl Miller says, Sting is a setup and she fell into the trap. Maybe we'll know more later. Good. I mean, that's a good way of looking at it too, Carl. It's a good way. And we all know what a sting operation is. It could be something else that turned into what the police want us to believe to be a sting. And there's hardly any such thing in Guyana, sting operation. It's something went bad, and sometimes when you think there's a sting operation, it's actually a setup. So we don't know yet whether this young lady falls into that category of being set up or it's indeed a sting operation. Fitz Gulliver is saying, so they charged the arsonist, just as you say. Well, the guy is an alleged arsonist. There is not sufficient information to point in the direction that this young man can be convicted. I don't think he can be convicted in any proper court of law. He cannot. He just cannot be convicted. There is no actual evidence against him other than what the police want us to believe, that that young man has admitted to burning down the Brickdam police station. That is all, Fitz. That is all. And were I a magistrate or a judge and such a case came in front of me, I would ask, where is the evidence? And now you can't just show me an alleged confession statement and for me to convict somebody because this person say, yes, he burned down the station. Where outside of that, where's the evidence? Interestingly though, what is interesting is that the fire service, the acting fire chief, and this guy who is the chief fire investigator. I watched a press conference yesterday with the two of them. Seemed to be very smart. And this guy, the fire chief, now acting fire chief, they brought him out of retirement. You see, what the regime did when they were installed, they rushed to remove competent people from places. And now they're reaping the bad fruits of the incompetent people that they put in place. They're rushing back now. They're rushing back now to bring back the competent people. We are going to see a heck of a lot of mess in a lot of agencies. In fact, we are seeing it right now. So they rushed to bring back this acting crime fire chief. So he's back. And they held a very good press conference yesterday. But what was interesting at that press conference was that this young man, the chief fire investigator, said that they spoke to some of the prisoners, and none of the prisoners, none of them, not a single one of them, said anything close to what the police want us to believe. And this is what the chief fire investigator said at that press conference. At that time, and at that point, when this young investigator said that, the acting fire chief stepped in to say, no, wait a minute. And now, if you saw that press conference, you will see exactly and understand exactly what I'm saying here, that the fire chief stopped him and said, well, look, there are some things in the investigation that we cannot divulge to the public. That's what he was saying, basically. In other words, he sent a coded message to this young investigator, basically to stop talking, right? Because they realized that it was a conflict there where it embarrassed the police force and what the police want us to believe. But I do believe these two men. But the older one here didn't want the younger one to continue talking, right? And that is what I got. So when the young one got an opportunity to speak, he said basically the same thing what the acting fire chief has said, that they have confidential information within and they cannot. But I don't see what is confidential in saying that none of the prisoners confessed to the crime, none of them. And none of them said anything close to what the police force is saying that young man that they charged did. I believe these two men. And I hope that these two men will not cover up anything on the side of the police. So they cannot come back now to say, that there was another statement given by another prisoner that slipped their mind or slipped them. They cannot. They have already said that. So now, when this matter goes to court, competent lawyers, like the guys have from Nigel Hughes, Fields and Stobie law firm, once they start to grill the fire folks, the police, that is where this case will break down and done with. And at the end now, you will have a no case submission submitted to the magistrate. The magistrate, if he or she is not politically motivated, they will dismiss the charge against the young man because there's actually no concrete evidence. And, in law, you said that if there's a preponderance of evidence, there's no preponderance of evidence. The only evidence that they claim that they have is this young man's confession statement. That is all they have. And also the credibility of the witness, the suspect, the credibility will come into question because the very police force actually said that the credibility of the young man is in question. The credibility. Now, if they are attacking the credibility, of the suspect, 5 out of 6 stuff they attacked, they said he's a liar, he's this, he's that. They themselves, the police, they're not helping in this case. They are basically saying to the court that this man is not credible. We should not believe anything he says. Well, if that is the case, there's a simple question. Why then should we believe his confession statement? So it's an easy case. If I were a lawyer, I'd love to be on this case. It's an easy case to win. He has 2 competent lawyers on his side, and they are already doing a great job. Now, what else can we talk about? What else is happening in that country? I've had numerous reports about mothers, new mothers at the Georgetown Public Hospital being sent away for days without their babies, for days without their babies. That is something that has to be looked after almost immediately. A young woman gave birth to her baby. The baby was taken away from her. Apparently, she became depressed, and guess what? The woman died right there at the Georgetown Hospital. Then there's another woman. There's another woman who I don't know, because the Georgetown Public Hospital and the regime, they don't want to tell what is happening. But this lady went to the bathroom, the washroom area, and she allegedly hung herself. I don't know what the autopsy report is going to show, but there are two things here. You know, I'm no investigator or whatever, but I like to put together a crime scene. Okay, so the hospital, they're saying that this woman apparently just went into the bathroom, tied some piece of cloth, put it up on the ceiling somewhere, and hung herself. Just like that. Just so dry. I don't know. It would be interesting to see what the autopsy report says about that particular death. I don't know, but again, something is fishy about that. And then you get the situation with the New Amsterdam hospital. I don't know, it's horrible. Everything seems to be bad. Everything, almost everything under this installed regime. Well, let me check some of your comments. I want to be able to give you guys an opportunity to see what's bothering you at 16 minutes after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. Let's see, Mark Hopkinson is saying here. Mark Hopkinson is saying police did that crime to get a kickback from contractor. We've been hearing all sorts of things, and people are entitled to their views, yes, all sorts of things. I know some former policemen who did say to me that they don't believe that that young man committed that committed that crime. They believe that it's one of their own, a serving member of the force who did that. And that's basically what folks seem to believe. I see here Aubrey Stevens is saying Guyana is not a real place. Guyana is not a real place. And we know Marlene Samuels. How are you doing? Marlene Samuels is saying lies, lies, and more lies. Of course we know it's lies. It's a pack of lies, and that's it. That's all these folks in the installed regime can do. Lie, 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 and more lie. And look, Miss Booker, Denise Booker, is saying it seems as though that woman was going through some depression and couldn't take it. Some depression and couldn't take it. Assuming that she killed herself. First of all, we have to always treat a crime scene of such where it looks like a suicide. It has to be treated like a crime scene and until ruled a suicide by the coroners. In this particular situation, we heard that she was found hanging. We don't know whether she hung herself or what happened. That's all I can say. So we'll have to await a proper investigation into this particular, the murder or the death of that young woman at the Georgetown Public Hospital. What else we can say? Margaret Nelson is saying that Dolly House playing government is sending that country straight to hell in a handbasket. No. They're not sending the country straight to hell. They are the ones who are going straight to hell, not the people, not the citizens, because the people's eyes are opening up wide. So the people understand exactly what is happening as a result of Guyana having an installed regime. Sunshine Night. Oh gosh, we got some Some name, Sunshine Knight. How are you? Says Mark, my cousin, all in. In other words, all the way in Hawaii. You say Guyana is not a real place. Guyana is not a real place. You know, I'm basically looking at some of your comments. I want it's called participation, to give you guys an opportunity to say something. What is bothering you? I want to see some comments of individuals. What exactly is bothering you? June Cameron is saying you don't have a face, so your opinion doesn't matter. Get when these things happen, it simply means that they're chasing a trench crappo, right? So a trench crappo, and that is what we like with our folks here on 107.1 FM. Chase them, you know, chase them indeed. Brenda Braithwaite, you know, in Guyana they say Braithwaite, but in the US and other parts it's Braithwaite. She's saying, so sad for her and her family. Things are getting worse every day in Guyana. So true, Brenda. So true. Selena Fraser, how are you doing? Selena is saying, real talk, Mark, that catfish government, they all are going to hell. Of course they are. In fact, I wish some of them should start going almost immediately, by tomorrow morning, by Saturday or Sunday. Just go, just let them go. You know. Bernadette de Matos Towler, how are you doing? Miss Towler is saying, Mark, enough is enough. We need to continue pray for Guyana. Okay, we need to do more than just praying. You know, prayer, yeah. All right, so let's get to this situation here. Aubrey Stevens again is asking about what's happening with the Orrin Boston situation. I'll tell you guys what is happening with the Orrin Boston situation. Here is what, and you know, usually when I break things down for you guys, I like to have a pen in my hand because I usually jot it down here as well. Here's what's happening with the Orrin Boston situation. But before we get to that, you guys remember this situation? A guy by the name of Peter Headley was murdered by a member of the Guyana Police Force, shot and killed. We heard months ago that they were investigating this matter. The circumstances surrounding his death, in fact, the police just killed him. The policeman is still on the force, I believe. They promised a swift investigation. And this is almost 5 to 6 months now. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. And so the family members and friends of Mr. Peter Headley seem to have no justice at all. None whatsoever. And so this brings us now to the question that Aubrey Stevens is asking, which is about this guy, Orrin Boston. It's been a couple of weeks now. He's buried, he's gone. His family is they're still in pain. They're still seeking justice. But guess what? Whenever the police, whenever they want to cover up on a crime, they will slow the process up. They will make it appear as though something is being done, when in fact, nothing is being done. And in my opinion, I will be surprised. And mind you, I've been wrong. Nothing is wrong with being wrong, but this is just my opinion. I'll be surprised if the young man who pulled the trigger and killed this businessman is charged. If he's charged, obviously, he will be a scapegoat. If that is. But first we heard that this case went to the Office of Professional Responsibility. It is an agency right in the compound of the police at Ivleri there. They are in the compound. It's a budget through the police force. It's run by a former senior police officer who heads that agency, and the investigators are police. So here's my question. how can that agency, the Office of Professional Responsibility, investigate their own? It is just not going to happen. It is not. It is not like in other countries like the Internal Affairs Bureau and all these things. It's different. These folks are right there in the compound of Ivleri, serving members of the Guyana Police Force. They're investigating each other. 99% of times, there's never charges held against or filed against their counterpart. Never. Right? So it moved from the Office of Professional Responsibility to the Police Complaints Authority. The Police Complaints Authority is headed by a former judge, Mr. William Ramlal. I have some level of confidence in Mr. Ramlal, some level of confidence, even though during my treason trial and so forth or case, and he has always objected to things sent to him. But this is not about me. Putting my personal views aside, Mr. Ramlal retired as a judge. And for him to be looking at these, I don't know, maybe our constitution and these things should be changed, that you have retired judges heading these agencies and all these different things. I just don't know. But I still have a little confidence in Justice Ramlal looking over the documents than I do OPR, right? Office of the Professional Responsibility. So we are awaiting word as to whether they will charge the culprit who pulled the trigger, the murderer who pulled the trigger. And now let's get back to yeah, I'm looking at some of your comments here. And let's look at what Miss John is saying, that Mark, these people, like, they don't realize that they can only fool some people, some of the people sometime, but not all of the people all the time. The station fire and everything concerning it is smelly. Of course, it is fishy business that's going on right there. And so back to this this RN Boston situation. It is just not going to get anywhere, in my opinion, because maybe some big businessman, maybe all these different things that happen, and they wanted this young man dead. Maybe that's the case. And oftentimes in Guyana, when you have money, you're able to buy out the police force. You're able to tell them to stall the investigations. You're able to tell them to have files disappear. You're able to tell them so many different things. So by the time the file gets to the Police Complaints Authority, guess what? It is messy. Then the Police Complaints Authority can't do much because, thank you, they can't do much because they don't have proper investigators, right? So what the Police Complaints Authority may do is to send the files back to the police. Or if they don't send the file back to the police, they will submit their recommendations to the DPP and send it to the DPP. Then the DPP will take a couple of days now to decide on whether to move forward or not. And then when the DPP makes a decision now whether to charge or not, and in this case, I am almost certain that the DPP will send back the case, the file, to the police. Bless you. Yeah, you guys see what's happening here, right? Yeah. Well, send back the files to the police to say that they need more information. But I can put my head on the block that they don't want that culprit to be charged with murder of Boston because some powerful businessman is involved. some powerful businessmen used senior police officers to send the SWAT team to Essequibo to target people who they want. Those questionable or that questionable businessman want people to target. In the case of Orrin Boston, he was murdered. And that is what they're trying to run away from. He was murdered. So I hope that answers the question of someone who asked, what about the Orrin Boston's case? I see Carl Miller saying Orrin Boston's murder case is a massive cover-up. He was cold-bloodedly murdered, no question about it. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see, in Guyana, Pauline Schultz. Okay, thank you.
This is Mom.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, good. Close the door for Daddy now. Thank you. You guys see why this midday thing here? Where are you, Emma? Okay, thank you. Give that a kiss and run. Close the door. I'll be out shortly, right?
Can we go to David Buster?
Yes, you will. All right.
I can go to David Buster.
Okay, Daddy is Daddy's on the ear. All right, and thank you.
Giant T was in that.
Okay, yeah. All right, sorry about that. So, looks as though I'm going to have to wrap up shortly, but Pollyann is saying, in Guyana, the laws only apply for certain people. For too long, people are being mistreated. Shame on the PPP regime. So true. Shame on the PPP regime. What else is happening on the news quickly before I rush out? Because I really do have to go. Burmese housewife dies following bee attacks. And someone out in, I believe, from Eversham died also, bee attack. I know one of the guys, Brian Bagat from Philippines. I hope he's okay. And then there's another guy from Alnis village. So you got 3 villages that I'm familiar with, bee attack. The guys them from Alnis, Philippines, and Eversham. And what else we have coming up? Dolphins, whales among animals found offshore by Guyanese team. Okay. And then fraud. A case of fraud where owner of stolen SUV confesses to staging the incident. So he staged this incident to make it look as though his vehicle was stolen, when in fact he staged it for, for insurance purpose. You know, I know of someone who's close to the PPP now. He was close to the coalition, the reform, and he paid somebody, a notorious individual, to burn up his vehicle for insurance purpose as well and political purpose. I know that individual very well, and I know the story. I heard of the story, mind you. And if the individual is watching, all I can say is, without calling names, Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Right? That's all I will say. That's all. Yeah. Somebody's saying that the permanent secretaries, almost all of them, where contracts are when contracts are awarded, they ask for small piece. They ask for small piece. That is what they do. Ask for small piece. So let's see what happens. Let's see what really happens. All right. So let us see what else is thinking before we go. Somebody's talking about a hurricane and monitoring a hurricane. An undesignated tropical wave tracking towards the East Caribbean Islands. East Caribbean Islands. Thank you so much. We get so many reporters. Lots and lots of reporters, you know. So here's what we're going to do. Is there any other breaking news story? Let's see what's on the Village Voice. You guys got to go to those newspapers, man. The Village Voice, Gordon Mosley, Capital News. You got to go on those news entities on the ground, and you'll get the truth. You know, don't go on PPP propaganda news works and these sort of things. Just go to those sources, and you'll get some good news. But for now, I got to head back to my job. I just took a quick lunch break to be with you guys and to just run through what's in the news midday. Before we go, don't forget hear what this cane harvester has to say about Jack Deere and the installed PPP regime.
Good afternoon to all my Facebook friends. Today I am doing this video for my fellow workers to understand that the government of today is not for the working class people. I am saying this simply because all of us are aware that our official from the government yesterday or a few days ago make some announcement, and one of the announcements is to give the severance people maybe $250,000. I have no problem with those giving the severance people money, but my problem is these workers already receive all their benefits, and most of them are working in different estates. End of the day, I have a problem with that. Recently, the agriculture minister says that in order for this industry to survive, we need $1.6 billion. And if this is true, how come this official can come and give out money just like that? This is a problem. Mind you, we at Albion, our estate were under flood condition. Tremendously, workers are suffering at Albion. We can't earn as we ought to. And so this is a problem right now. For the longest while, we do not have a wage increase. And we believe that this announcement, all sugar workers supposed to benefit off of this announcement. And rightly, I am demanding now my $250,000 because all of us deserve this money right now. Thank you very much.
All right, he is so true. He's speaking the truth. That's Mr. Parks, a cane harvester. And for now, I have to go because I will be back this evening at 9 o'clock sharp. I got to go back to my other job because Emma is not in school today, right? Because
Mom.
because she's a little under the weather, right? Say bye-bye. We got to go. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. See you guys tonight.
This ain't a long time, this ain't a long time, this not a before time. This ain't a long time, this ain't a long time, this not a before time. This ain't a long time, this ain't a long time, this not a before time. Long time got them long, long low, now yoga.